Hey, what is going on, guys? This video today is going to be something along the lines of an editing tutorial in Fortnite. I think people, for the most part, know the importance of building in Fortnite and how crucial it is to individual players' success. There's probably like hundreds and thousands of building tutorials on YouTube, and I have a few already on my channel with a few more coming in the near future. But what people place a lot less emphasis on is editing. And I think editing is something that's really underratedly important in Fortnite. I think it can turn a good player into a great player if you really get the editing system down in the game. And even though not all edits are helpful and a lot of them are just really for show or for fun, this video today is really going to be highlighting the edits that I use in my game on a somewhat frequent to very frequent basis, and the ones that I feel that you guys can implement into your game that will really help you out in certain fights and building situations. So let's get right into it. We're going to start off with the really basic stuff and then move on to the much more advanced stuff, and it should be an interesting video. Alright, so we're going to start off with some general tips about editing before we move into the more advanced stuff. And the first thing I want to discuss is the ability to edit by holding down your right trigger. This is something people with probably hundreds of games may not know. You do not need to click the right trigger every time you're selecting a square while editing. You can just hold it down and move the right stick and it'll defaultly select everything that you scroll over. So like, for example, if you're building a door, what a lot of people will do is they'll click right trigger for one square and then click right trigger for the other square, when all you have to do is hold down the trigger and move with your right stick to select both of the squares at pretty much the same time. It'll save you a lot of time while editing, and a lot of people surprisingly don't know it. The next thing is the value of the transparency effect when editing. I've pretty much beat to death on my channel the idea of placing a floor piece over a staircase and then editing it to be able to see under you as someone's coming up the stairs, but this is viable in a lot of situations. Like, for example, in a 1x1, you can use the transparency to see anyone that's outside of your 1x1 without any fear of peeking up and being shot or anyone seeing you. It has good use in a lot of different situations, and it's definitely something you should incorporate more into your game. And the final basic general tip of editing, maybe the most basic of all of them, is just the fact that you can reset any editing done by clicking down on the right stick. This counts for edits that you haven't completed yet, or if you've already done an edit into the piece like you're seeing here, you can simply pull back up the editing menu on whatever you've built, click down on right stick, confirm it, and it'll take away whatever you have edited into it. So a much quicker way to get rid of stuff, and maybe something you didn't know. So let's get right into the basic wall edits now. Okay, there are really only 4 things that are ever viable when editing walls, and you're probably going to use them a decent amount of the time, so you should know them if you didn't already. You have the window, which is one square in the middle. You have the door, which is done by editing the square in the middle and the square under it. You have the corner triangle, which is done by editing the bottom middle square, the bottom right square, and the middle right square. And then finally, you have the corner archway, which is done by editing the middle square, the bottom middle square, the bottom right square, and the middle right square. These are all ways to get out of certain situations, or in the window is a way to get a quick head glitch on someone, and it's something that even though most of you guys may know, if you don't, it can really revolutionize your game. So now we're going to get into the edits that I use, and even some of the more advanced ones that a lot of you guys probably don't know that you can maybe put into your game. Alright, first off, you should never use a door when escaping an area. You should always use the corner triangle method or corner archway method that I just showed you how to do. That's because when you use a door, it makes a very loud sound that basically identifies to any enemies exactly where you are. So if you're hiding from someone and need to get out of a 1x1, you don't want to make that door because they'll hear you, so you make the corner triangle or corner archway. It's totally silent, and it is the much better option in every situation. The next tip is probably something you've seen a lot of high-level players doing at one time or another. If you have someone trapped in a 1x1 one and you're just constantly shooting down their walls and they're just constantly replacing them, it can be so annoying to deal with. You're going to run out of ammo. It's just really, really annoying to play against. So what you want to do is destroy their wall and immediately replace it with one of your own walls. What that'll do is it'll give you the ability to edit it, because you can edit anything that you build or your teammates build, but you cannot edit anything built by enemies. Your opponent will think that it's their wall, so they'll just be waiting with their building up for you to shoot it down and for them to replace it again. But since it's your wall, you're going to edit a window or a corner archway or anything I showed you guys and pump shotgun them to the face for an easy kill. The next tip is escaping a wall that's halfway in the ground. We've all been in scenarios like this where you build a 1x1 in an area that isn't totally level and like half of your wall gets in the ground, so you can't build like the door or the corner triangle or the corner archway. No worries, since you can't build any of those structures, you're simply going to want to select the top 3 pieces, top left, top right, and top middle, and it'll take away that wall and allow you a safe exit out without having to destroy it. Next up, how to change the angle of your staircase. This is especially helpful when you're built into a 1x1 and someone's approaching from an angle that your staircase isn't directly facing. You can still head glitch it from the side, but it's a lot more awkward and easier to get hit. So what you're going to want to do is change the angle of your staircase so you can be facing them, and it's kind of confusing to explain by words, so you're just going to want to really pay attention to the gameplay if you want to do this. Basically, you're going to select one of the middle rectangles, not any of the squares, and just drag it towards the direction you want your staircase to be facing. Again, kind of hard to describe with words, so if you just watch the gameplay, you'll be able to pick it up relatively quick. It's easy to do, and it's super helpful. Okay, next up is going to be a half staircase trick, where you basically cut your staircase in half, and this is specifically useful for when someone's hiding under your staircase. You can make it go transparent to see if anyone's under it, and then what you're going to want to do is edit 3 squares in a row in any direction, and what that's going to do is basically turn your staircase from a full staircase to a half staircase, and then now your opponent will be exposed, you'll have the high ground, they won't be expecting it, and it should be a really easy kill for you. Okay, so getting into the final tip of this video, and this one is hands down my favorite. It's something I figured out about a week ago, and I've really been using it heavily ever since, and it deals with pyramids. So we all know the pyramid building piece has really no use in terms of building in Fortnite. I showed you guys a cool tip a few videos back about how you can use the pyramid piece to get rid of any traps on the ground or on the ceiling, but with traps being heavily nerfed from a few days ago, that tip isn't as useful anymore, even though it's still pretty cool. So I have found an awesome new use for the pyramid building piece, and I'm going to show you guys right now. What you're going to want to do is in every pregame lobby or anytime you want to use this tip, edit the top 2 squares of your pyramid to create a downward angled staircase. And what this is going to give you the ability to do is use this to descend from any high ground, specifically build battles, mountains you're on top of, high towers, any area where you're too far to fall down and you can't do that trick where you like place a staircase or floor piece under you as you're falling to not take fall damage. You're gonna want to use this downward angled staircase trick. And what's awesome is you can do this normally with a staircase by rotating it, but rotating it's annoying. If you forget to unrotate it, it can really screw you in any future fights or any times you want to use a staircase. With this pyramid piece, you can basically make the pyramid your dedicated downward angled staircase. It's really the best way to use pyramids right now. As I said, at the current moment, they have no other use in terms of building, so this is definitely your best option. And having a downward angled staircase is awesome for build battles, or like I said, anytime you're in scary high ground situations where you can't descend by any other fashion. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the tips. Even if you're an advanced player, I hope you were able to take a thing or two from this video. Leave a like, leave a comment, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.